Never before in my 20 years of gaming have I witnessed a difficulty spike as severe as Neon Mixtape Tour. I am calling this world out, not for just being generic, but for also being straight up unfair. But before we get into that, why don't you subscribe so I can continue to create family-friendly content that even your cat can enjoy. Neon Mixtape Tour begins in day 1, which introduces us to the main gimmick of this world: music. For some reason, these mullet-wearing dickheads hear these sick beats, and the strange white pill they took earlier courses through their veins, making them charge at you more invigorated than ever. But right now, it makes no difference, and I managed to pass day 1 with ease. Day 2 posed a little bit more of a challenge, since we are introduced to our first new zombie type of this world, the emo zombie. Whenever the music plays, the emo's power increases, and he starts to kick my poor beans back without any regard for health and safety procedures. I honestly thought day 2 would be much harder, but once again, I managed to beat it first try. Day 3 was a conveyor belt level showcasing this world's premium plant, and for some reason, it was a cactus. So we move on to day 4, where our first major roadblock of this world rears its ugly head. I was shocked beyond words that the first major difficulty spike happened so early in Neon Mixtape Tour. I'm pretty sure PopCap's balancing team was on vacation for this world, because some days are easy as anything, and then other days we get blatant bullshit like day 4. This day is 3 waves long, and most zombies are replaced with bucket heads, meaning my bean sprout, which would usually carry me through these hard days, gets overpowered like it's nothing. I could usually make it to the final wave, but then a bunch of emos came to boot my beans and fuck me over. But after 45 minutes of trial and error, I finally managed to beat day 4, which in fairness, I probably could have done so much earlier, but I was not thinking. After completing day 5 and 6 with ease, it wasn't much longer until we encountered our next roadblock. Day 7. Day 7 fucking sucks. Here, we meet a zombie that renders my laser beam as obsolete as a 90-year-old's nutsack. The roller skate zombie. The way this fucker works is whenever music isn't playing, they shield the zombies behind them, making my laser beam completely useless until they take out the roller skate zombie, which would be fine if it wasn't coupled with the fact that she can insta-kill any of my beans just by touching them. She doesn't even eat them, so the chili bean can't even save my ass here. Eventually, I came to the realization that I just needed to protect my lawn-mowerless lanes and let the remaining mowers do the rest. Eventually, I could pass this level without too much hassle. Still, it took much longer than I would have liked. Day 7 was then followed by day 8, which for some reason was really piss easy. This world is more inconsistent than my streaming schedule. Speaking of, all of my gameplay for this challenge was streamed over at twitch.tv/Whoie, so why don't you come on by to see me rage at an over 10-year-old mobile game. The next challenge didn't come until day 13, which is a prepare your defences level. Usually the combination of bean sprouts and laser beams do these days without a problem, but for some reason, the sheer amount of buckethead zombies was absurd and my beansprout got overwhelmed once more. It didn't help that we got introduced to yet another new zombie type, Michael Jackson, who can just waltz up and insta-kill any bean he so much as breathes on. I don't think I've ever seen so many zombies on a screen at once. After 45 minutes of trial and error, I eventually managed to beat day 13 by placing my laser beam in this weird ass pattern. Day 14 was a day completed with given plants, but then day 15, I believe, is the very first impossible day of this world. It is so heavy on RNG on this day. I realised that zombies have a variable walking speed of about 10%, so sometimes these emo zombies will kick everything out of the way, ending the day instantly, or they'll stop and eat my big old beansprout depending on luck. This, paired with Michael Jackson's later appearance in the day, made this day straight up impossible due to my lack of firepower, or the fact that I couldn't use the sunbeam at all since the emo zombie does not like his vitamin D. This day just completely broke me. Since all my offensive beans cost 200 sun, in the end, I had to clear the day beanless since I just kept banging my head against the wall again and again. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think this day would be entirely possible if I was allowed to upgrade my beans, but I don't wanna. From here, we didn't really encounter a challenge again until day 20, where we had to once again deal with countless buckethead and emo zombies at once. We are also introduced to yet another new zombie type, the breakdancer zombie, who is just completely pathetic and poses no threat whatsoever, which is a breath of fresh air for this world, considering how much it's fucking given me testicular torsion. After a couple of attempts, I managed to conquer day 20. We then move on to day 21, which is another day that is just either straight up impossible or based entirely on RNG, which I do not fuck with in the slightest because of my lack of firepower and having to protect this stupid line of flowers for some reason. It doesn't help that the literal third zombie to spawn is an emo zombie when I don't have enough sun for a laser beam, meaning all I had to defend myself was a bean sprout, which he just casually kicks out the way. I tried delaying him with a spring bean, followed by sending in a goopy goober, but since the music buffs the zombie's health, it does absolutely nothing. So the only way I could do this day was by sending off a lawnmower at the very start before he gets through the flowers. Yes, I do read your comments. This usually wouldn't be so bad, but then a gargantua comes in shortly after. I tried many things. Even after streaming, I tried to let this little imp go and get the lawnmower itself and take out the gargantua. But then there was yet another gargantua, and there was no way to take him out with my lack of firepower. Because I discovered filling the back lanes with only laser beams does not do enough damage to take him out. That and the fact that he can one-shot my beans from just looking at them made this day pretty much impossible. Hell, I don't even think I need to justify it. Go try it for yourself. You will not keep your sanity intact. After that travesty of a day, we move on to day 22, which is a conveyor belt level. The only notable thing about this day is the nerd zombie has been introduced to fuck my shit up. All this guy does is shove an arcade machine down a lane that spawns in some very cool pixel zombies, which is probably the first cool thing this world does. It's too bad it will be done to death later on and kill the novelty of it. Day 23 was yet another hard as balls day, with Michael Jackson coming down my lanes and wiping the floor with me multiple times. But after a couple of tries and some actually smart replanting of my beans, I managed to clear the day after only a couple of attempts. This pretty tough day was then followed by two very easy days, with day 24 and 25, which I managed to beat first try, and then I had to deal with day 26. In this day, we had to defend some endangered plants against Michael Jackson and some other zombies. Now, the thing with Michael is he can insta-kill all plants in a 3x3 area, which makes him a complete dickhead to deal with. But with enough patience, I somehow managed to complete this day with only an hour of attempts. And I'm going to be honest, I thought this day would be entirely impossible. And I don't even know how I managed to clear it. To be honest, I think I just got incredibly lucky with RNG. With day 27 being a conveyor belt day, that brings me to day 28. Another impossible day. The reason for this is we are introduced with yet another zombie type, Freddie Mercury, who serenades us with seductive tunes, meaning we can't do anything to attack until he stops. Now, the first 5 zombies in this day are all Freddy Fazbear zombies, and they are also followed by 5 nerd zombies. This is also paired with emo zombies, and the sheer amount of bucket heads that accompany them, meaning I did not have the firepower to deal with this in the slightest. All my beans and my bean sprouts were just rendered completely useless, and I had to rely on the laser beam to do penetrative damage. And even with this penetrative damage, he just didn't do enough of it to take out all the bucket heads in one lane. Even my goopy goobers didn't have the potential to deal with them, making this level just completely impossible, even while using my sunbeam to its maximum potential. Day 29 was yet another hard as nails day, with so many zombies coming at me at once, and Freddy Fazbear making my life hell. But once again, I managed to complete this day with minimal suffering. But then, day 30 was our final impossible day. Now, I know, 4 impossible days sounds like a lot, but you gotta keep in mind, this world is over 30 days. So, seeing that I managed to do most of them, I think that's pretty impressive. I challenge you all once again to try these impossible days, and see how long you last. This game will not let you last 30 seconds. The reason day 30 was impossible is because, well, Michael Jackson is the very first zombie to spawn, and not just one of them, but 3, meaning I'm basically guaranteed to lose 2 mowers at the start of this day. This is followed by more emo zombies and even more Michael Jackson clones. I don't even think I need to explain why this is impossible, just look at this. This world's balancing is just horseshit. Some days are far too easy, and others are ball-bustingly hard. I swear, PopCap must have hired Elden Ring's balancing team, because this just ain't it. We then move on to day 31, which was a day to clear with given plants, and this was then followed by, without a doubt, the hardest zombie boss fight in the whole game so far. He just has so much health, and this whole fight was about 10 minutes long, while being near enough entirely reliant on RNG, because he can just clear a lane at random, with both friendlies and my beans alike. I hated this fight so much. It was utter bullshit. It took me an hour to do this fight alone, and it just wasn't that interesting. I just had to keep banging my head against the wall till it broke. I hate this world so much. Well, on the plus side, at least it can't get much harder from here, right? And now I can finally go and see the dinosaurs. I really like the red one.